Excited to be sitting with none other than Greg Ubert, former boss of mine when I was an intern 10 years ago. I would say probably one of the most well-known CEOs that has started a company here, chosen a disruptive, at the time, industry and really scaled it. And so excited to sit down and hear your advice, your journey, mentorship, all that stuff. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, just tell us who you are and how you got here today, starting from birth.
That's a while. That's a long time ago.
Take us back to Harvard, maybe.
Take us back to, okay. So how about this? I grew up here in Columbus and went to school in Boston, Harvard, played 2 sports there, enjoyed that. And major was economics. First job out of college, going to a computer software company in Chicago. And like that, enjoyed it for a while, but then it was something that I just couldn't fall in love with. So I was looking around for seeing what I could fall in love with, and specialty coffee. Gourmet coffee was one of those things, and that's the reason why I moved back to Columbus. Started the whole trend of moving back in with your parents, by the way.
Let's go.
So I did
You're
that.
The originator.
Did that back in 1991, and thankfully, parents let me back in. So it allowed me to start the business and then grow it from there.
It's amazing. So you've told me a few different stories about where things were with coffee when you started, and you liken it to other industries, like maybe ChatGPT, the internet. People just weren't using it. They weren't engaged with it. What was that world like? Like, what were people drinking? How hard was it to get people interested? How easy was it? Like, just talk about that journey.
Yeah, I think the first thing, which a lot of soon-to-be entrepreneurs may get this. They may get the you're crazy. You ought to be in a straitjacket. So that's what I got back in 1991 when I told people I was getting into coffee, or specialty coffee, because really specialty coffee was not known back then. So people were drinking coffee mostly strictly for caffeine. And so you don't have to pass too high on the quality standpoint for coffee to have caffeine in it, because all coffee has caffeine. So that was one of the things.
And so what were people drinking? What brands?
People were drinking low-grade stuff, commercially grade quality.
You wouldn't say they're...
And that was probably 99%.
You don't want to call any specific names?
No, I don't.
You're a nice guy.
I'm good.
You're a nice guy.
Good. I think commercial knows who commercial is. There is a grading process with coffee too, so I'm not saying anything that isn't true to the industry.
Totally.
However, so for me, it was really introducing people to specialty coffee, because really not many people knew what it was or knew coffee could taste good. That was really interesting to me. Like, it just wasn't out there. So when I would go and ask people, hey, do you want to try my coffee? I was calling on anybody who would listen to me, which was kind of interesting. And they didn't know until they tried it. And just like I did in the late 80s, I tried it and I said, I like coffee. I can like coffee. This is pretty good. Because that's not what I did in college. In college, I had the coffee was terrible, so I had to fill it with hot chocolate. And that's how I, when I was having finals or whatever, that's what kept me up, got me through.
That was the Greg special.
That was my special, right? But now, or back in 1991, that was a hard challenge, because not only was I going in and saying, hey, here's something different, coffee, I'm saying this is more expensive, because specialty coffee is more expensive. And so that was the certain sales challenge for me, is how do you overcome, or how could I overcome, one, something new product, and then tell people, oh yeah, by the way, you have to pay more for it. Because back then, it was really, the office administrator or the person who was leading the food service company, whatever, their job was to keep expenses low.
Totally.
And I was saying, no, you can charge more for it. People will pay more for it if you have this coffee. And that's kind of how I sold.
Who were you selling to? Was it a mixed bag? Because there wasn't really coffee shops.
There
right?
weren't coffee shops around here. Weren't many at all. So I was calling on restaurants. I was calling on large offices. I was calling on delis. I was calling on anything that you could think of, really, who would buy my coffee and then either resell it And that was really it. Anybody like that.
And what was the general response? Like, you'd walk into a meeting, they'd say, I really like this, and then they would say, I don't want to pay the price, or like, tell me, was there buckets of like, this group of people really liked it, this one was indifferent, these ones didn't want it?
Well, I think, thankfully, there were enough people interested in trying it. Because otherwise I would be doing what I'm doing, and just like anything else, persistence wins. So I would set up a schedule where I'd call on, because I didn't know who was going to like it and who didn't. And quite frankly, in that mix, whether it was offices or restaurants or other types of food service establishments, there was no magic formula. Right? There were some that were open to it in each one of those categories and some that weren't.
Right.
And so I just had to go out and be consistent with what I was saying and doing, and then find those ones who had an interest, and then kind of teach and coach them along the way of how to sell it.
Were you selling one bean, one cup, or like how did it start?
It wasn't many, right? It was maybe a couple blends back then. Again, people weren't familiar with, dark roast, light roast, medium roast. They're really unfamiliar with that territory as well. And
Totally.
Now we just talk it today like it's always been around.
Right.
But that hasn't been the case.
How is the transformation? So from the early days of you having a couple of roasts to now, there's a lot of different potential products. I'm sure you guys have some strategy on having a focus on things that sell well, things that taste good, things that are good for your brand. How has that transformed over the years?
Yeah, it's come around. It's one of the things I love about still being in business. So this is our 35th year in business, and I'm thinking right now is how do we make the next 35 years bigger than our first 35 years? One of the ways in which we can do that, and we have done it, is really team with farmers. So that's one of the things that we are very good at, is traveling around the world and making sure we know the farmers, because now they can produce something for us, strictly for us. I mean, we have
exclusive to you.
Truly unique coffees, and it's how we coach the farmers on how to process it, how to harvest it. We can help in all these areas, and we do, which only increases the quality of the product that it is that we can deliver to our customers.
I love it. There's a lot of different coffee brands out there today, and some of them, like, look at a Dunkin' Donuts. They probably have their own core philosophies on how they operate. Starbucks, you get on the line. You guys are unique compared to these brands, and I have my own thoughts on it, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. What makes you guys unique? Like, what are you really striving for in this space, in industry? What do you want to be known for most?
I've traveled around the world. I've met roasters across the world, and I have not run into one who hasn't told me they have the best coffee in the world. Not one.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we distinguish ourselves? So we decided 15, 20 years ago to really get into really making sure that others said our coffee was great. So it's why we've won the Gold Bean World Competition. That was in Guatemala City last year. We won that. We won the Golden Bean North America. We won the Good Food Awards. We've won multiple of those, which is for the best tasting coffee, the most responsibly sourced. We won the Roaster of the Year. That's for North America. You can only win that award once. And how they do it is basically they say, send us a thesis on your business. What do you do special for your people? What do you do special for your customers? What do you do special for your farmers? If you pass that, then you send them your coffee, and then they grade it. And there was over, I think, 500 submittals into that particular competition. Obviously, there's a lot of roasters submitting.
Yeah.
And so we won that. And so that's really important to us, because it's not only, we love what we do. We love coffee. We love making sure we have great coffee, and we love how we do business too. So that was a combination of that.
That's amazing. I want to talk a little bit more than just coffee. Coffee's the product. It's the thing that sparked the idea to get you into business. What are the other important things that entrepreneurs, if they're getting into coffee, they're getting into tea, beverages, drinks, consumer products, what are some of those things that you wish you would have known before you got into business?
That's too long a list. We don't have enough time to do that. However,
the top few.
However, some of the things that I've learned along the way, some of the things that we do now, some of my loves and passions have kind of put into the business. So giving back, that's always been something very important to me. Starting out young, maybe I got that from my parents, not sure. But that's been really important to us. So the giving back portion, we do that here locally, and we also do it with our farming communities around whatever they need. We've built houses, water filtration projects, computers, books, whatever that community needs, we give back there. That's really important to us. Those relationships are really important to us. And then we have creating great drinks. So this was something I didn't know getting into business, but we create our own syrups, our sauces, smoothies, refreshers. We just created a cold brew concentrate, shelf stable, and it took us 3 years to do that.
Wow.
And it's awesome, right? It'll soon be on the market. But those are some of the other enjoyable things that I discovered that we do really, really well.
Totally.
And so that's another exciting thing for us to carry through on for the future, is continuing doing that. The other thing that I get excited about is teaching and coaching. So what I learned when coffee houses were just starting to come around, mostly in the Midwest, because I would travel around, and then I'd have the opportunity to go to some of these places and really talk with the business owner, hear what they were thinking about, and take it with my own successful experience, and then say, okay, wow, that's they're focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me into writing the book, The 7 Steps to Success, How to Succeed in Specialty Coffee. It's going to be on its 3rd edition here soon, still relevant and still important. And so the teaching and coaching, what I love, is in the business as well. So we continually do that, and we'll get better and better at that as we go along.
Of those 7 stages and steps, is there one that you see entrepreneurs making the mistake the most? Is there one that sticks out to your stories that you have around coaching that maybe changed their business completely or saved them from going out of business?
We do, and that's really exciting, because an entrepreneur is putting virtually everything they have into the business, and that's really, we take that very seriously. Mm-hmm. So we know we have to teach and coach properly, and we have to get the entrepreneur that wants to be coached. Right?
Totally.
Those 2 elements are really important, and we found great success with that. And so there's multiple elements, whether it's marketing, or whether they're looking at spending unwisely for certain things. We can kind of teach and coach them along the way and say, look, here's, based upon our successful experience, here's what we found successful, and then here's what we haven't. And we will definitely share that, because that's really important, because there's a lot of holes to step in.
Totally.
As anybody who's been an entrepreneur knows that.
Totally.
And so we try to keep them out of those holes, because some of them can be extremely detrimental.
Totally. So there's the actual steps in your book, and then there's personalities, and sometimes ego can get in the way with making decisions, and there's a whole management of that piece. How often do you feel like businesses are failing because they're not following the steps, versus it's a personality trait that isn't going to work for being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think I wrote the book to attract people to us and to make sure we get business. I actually wrote it because what I was hearing in the 90s is no different, probably, that's going on today. People were focused on the wrong things. And so with the book, we got people to focus on the right things. And then if they thought differently, totally cool. It's just that, we choose not to work with them. Just like they have the right not to choose to work with us too.
Right.
We understand that. However, for us, our teaching and our guidance with successful experience, I'm kind of like, why wouldn't you listen to somebody
Totally.
like that?
Totally.
Certainly, I search for advisors who have successful experience. I can share with me, so that way I can learn what took them 5 years. I can learn it, 30 minutes a day?
Right, 100%.
Any time to do that, I'll do it.
Outside of coachability as a trait for success, is there any other traits that for our mentees back home that are watching, that you would advise if you're going to be an entrepreneur, be coachable, be this and be that? Was there another 2 or 3 that you think are most important to kind of focus on?
I think there's resilience is really important, right? So how we get to character, strong character, is going through a lot of turmoil. Mm-hmm. Like I always tell people, I said, look, I've been in business for 35 years and I have the scars to prove it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really what's going to happen. So the idea that things aren't going to go your way, or maybe everything will go your way, it won't happen.
Yeah.
It definitely won't happen. So then the next stage is, okay, this is going to happen, so how do I deal with it?
100%.
And then getting into the how do I deal with these challenges is the most important mindset, I would say, for an entrepreneur to have.
Is there a most challenging moment that you've had in your career that was like the hardest one to get through? Like
the Great Recession was one of them. COVID was another one. So
how similar were those two?
The Great Recession was extremely difficult because our driver was coffee houses. So independent coffee houses, right? So we were opening a good amount of those a year, and then the faucet just turned off. So there's nobody opening up a business for a few years. And so our whole growth engine was gone. So then what do? Well, we had to diversify into certain market segments, and that's how we handled that one, right, until coffee houses came back into play. And then COVID was another one from a labor standpoint. There was a lot of concern, legitimate concern about, geez, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen to my friends? So very different in that regards. Nonetheless, it's a challenge. And I was thankful that I've had some of the challenges I had, because I could coach and teach people through, hey, it's going to be okay. Everything will be all right. We're going to work through it. We're going to do the right things. We're going to continue doing that. And we're going to continue being ourselves.
Yeah. So when COVID hit, did you have like a team meeting, and like was there a resounding message that you gave them similar to that? It's like, hey, everything's
there
okay.
There were numerous ones. Yeah, numerous ones, because that was going on for some time, and we had to make some strong choices that I think were the right choices. So one of our coffee houses, they were a walk-in coffee house, not drive-through. Drive-throughs were fine because people were going through, people felt comfortable, customers felt comfortable going, but not at our walk-in. So everybody was not feeling great about it. So we shut it down for a while. But then we came up with the idea of, okay, well, let's make this a mock drive-through. So the city allowed us to put a truck out there, and we did it like a drive-through.
Oh.
So, what cool. comes from challenges, there may be some other things that can come through on there that can get some resounding successes from that.
I love it. Tell me about your number one I made it moment, or like your most rewarding moment in business where you're like, wow, like I finally, I've been working all these years to do this moment. Was there anything that stands out to you in your career over the last 35 years that has been really rewarding?
There's been so many. I don't know. I mean, I kind of look at it as a continued journey.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just continual. There's some very good things, and then also some challenging things that led to good things. And so I kind of look at it. My thing is what's next. So that's where my mind is like, okay, what are we doing next? Not that we can't appreciate, we should appreciate. I should appreciate more what we did in the past, for sure.
Yeah.
And my mind is, okay, how can we make things better in the future? What are we going to do that's really exciting for the future? So that's where my mind is. I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about things that you're bringing up, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't think about it.
You sound like a stereotypical successful entrepreneur. So most people are, I don't care about that. I just want to focus on the future. Right. Speaking of the future, what are some of just a couple more questions for you. What are some of the most exciting things that are happening in this industry that you're looking forward to?
Well, I think there's some really cool stuff. So one of our, I call it the family of brands, Crimson, what it is that we're doing out there and the drinks that it is that we're making here, sharing that to all of Columbus and then people coming in from outside of Columbus. So we have a Crimson at Easton Town Center. I love the drinks that they're making out there. So that's like our innovation lab, retail.
We got to go there after this.
That's our innovation lab retail, and so we love that, and then we love creating products, just like I talked about. I mean, I can see just product after product after product because we're extremely good tasters here. And I didn't realize that until we started tasting other people's stuff, and then even other people who are food scientists sending us stuff. I'm like,
I wonder if that's a whole business segment.
we're missing something, and because we do such a good job with coffee and other things, we are extremely good tasters, and I did not know that was necessarily unique of ours.
Yeah.
But we'll continue doing that because we love it. There's a whole bunch of people who love cuisine and love beverages here, and so it's exciting.
Well, part of the reason you guys probably let me walk through the door still is because you have good taste in coffee and people.
That's exactly right.
Last question and favorite question on my end is, tell me about your routine. What is a successful CEO in coffee who started it from scratch and is now in tons of locations, OSU partnership that's been going on for years, in some really big box stores. How does your routine look on a day-to-day basis?
My routine looks similar.
Yeah.
Right. So I've learned some things along the way. In the 90s, I was working like 90 hours a week. Right. I guess that might be somewhat typical. What I would say is there's probably a better way to do it. So now I still enjoy what I do. So my routine is 55 hours a week now. And I have some similar routines that it is that I do, but I love getting into, the new products, staying in touch with what's going on. So I enjoy going to shows. I enjoy, I'm coaching people here at Crimson Cup, and I love that. Still coaching on the other end of what can we do better for our customers. Still participate in, giving back in our communities around the globe. So just stuff. I mean, that's just stuff that I guess I've always enjoyed and liked, and I'll just continue doing that as long as God lets me.
I love it. Greg Ubert, Crimson Cup Coffee, CEO and founder. Any final words for the mentees back home? I know you work with mentees here, and people that are early in their career. Any last words for them?
I do. I think there's the entrepreneur mindset, right? And that's really not expecting things to come your way, but how can you add value, and being able to talk with, if you're in a company or whether you're an entrepreneur, thinking like that and thinking, okay, how can I add value, and asking mentors, hey, how can I add value here? Because that'll spur the curiosity to say, okay, because there's information out there now, a lot of information. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to go to the library anymore, right? So if really one wants to succeed, then a lot of information's out there, and then it's to strive for curiosity, strive to make things better.
I love it.
That's it.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, man.